All right. So we're going to go ahead and record this for the people who couldn't attend right now and want to watch it later. All right, we'll get started. Mostly I want to walk through the resources that we have available to you, but this is a small informal group. So if you have questions at all, just stop me and ask. You can either type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Either way just works just fine. I'm Stacy Duffield, and I'm the director of our Office of Teaching and Learning. And I just want to welcome you to dual credit at NDSU. Again, we're just going to walk through some of the resources that are available to you and just show you where you can go if you have any questions or need support. I just want to start off by just giving you a few kind of, I guess, permissions to get support and some tips for, I think, being successful in a college class if you haven't taken one before. If you're someone who doesn't use a calendar, I think it's a really good idea to start one, to put important due dates in for projects and things. Maybe even your reading assignments, it's not a bad idea to write those in. Because this is an online class, and if you haven't taken an online class before, I recommend having a regular work time if you haven't already scheduled it into your school day. It's just really easy to kind of unprioritize something that isn't due immediately. And so if you can just get in the habit of having a regular work time for this class, you're going to be a lot more successful than if you don't. Another big tip that I have is your instructors are going to communicate with you through your NDSU email. A lot of times they'll send their messages out through Blackboard, which is where the classes are housed. And the Blackboard will use your NDSU email automatically. And so we have instructions out on our website, and I'll show you where that's at here in just a minute. You can either have it forwarded to your email account that you normally use so that you don't have to check two different accounts. Or if you want to get in the habit of checking your NDSU account because you know that in a year or so you're going to be a full-time NDSU student, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Another really big tip I have is to ask questions. Right away, if there's something you're not quite sure about in your class, send an email to your instructor. Leave a message in the class for them if they give you like a chat or discussion board or something that you can use. But don't hesitate to reach out. The instructors want to help, they want to support you, and they will answer your questions. They'll also give you a phone number if you want to call their office. You can do that as well, but email tends to be the easiest way to get a hold of your instructors. I encourage you to use your instructor's office hours. We've asked them to set up times, hopefully outside of the school day when it's convenient for you as well. But another big thing is if you look at the office hours, you have another class during that time, you can just email them to set up a time to meet, and they'll be more than happy to meet with you. They can use Zoom or phone call or whatever they like to use. If they'd rather do Teams or Google Hangout or something, they'll let you know. Another tip I have is that I think sometimes in high school, we get the idea that tutoring is just when you're struggling or you're not a very smart student or something like that. But I want to tell you that in college, tutoring is for everyone. I have 3 kids that just recently went through college. My oldest son is actually a math teacher right now, and he used our tutoring like crazy, and he was on the dean's list. And I think that's why he was on the dean's list. Is because he wasn't afraid to reach out for help, ask questions, and use the tutoring. Definitely, and I'll show you where you can link to that. And we have online tutoring that you can access as a dual credit student. And we also have what's called the Center for Writers. And so if you have a paper that you need to write for your class, a writing assignment, you can sure reach out to the Center for Writers. Just make sure you give yourself enough time. And again, they have online consulting sessions, and they can help you with, like, you're not quite sure how to organize it, or you want a little bit of help with reading it through to see that you've used your grammar and your citations correctly. Those sorts of things. They offer great support for that. Any questions so far? All right, I will just keep plugging away then. So we have a website where the dual credit is, if you haven't already found it. You should maybe bookmark it for yourself. If you just go to NDSU edu and then /OTL for Office of Teaching and Learning, and I'm gonna unshare, and then I'm gonna start sharing again after I get to that website. All right. And so you can see that we're on the Office of Teaching and Learning website. And if you go to our programs, and then you see that dual credit is one of the programs there. Again, I would recommend just bookmarking this page, or keeping, kind of keep it in your head that OTL, the backslash OTL is where you want to go on the NDSU page. And pretty much everything you need for dual credit is here. Make sure you check out whether or not you're eligible for the Bank of Dakota tuition waiver, which is a really nice deal. They even pay for the cost of books. If your course has a book, they pay tuition and fees for the class. And so it's a really nice benefit if you do qualify. There's also information out here when you become a full-time college student. If you go to a North Dakota college, there's what's called the dual credit scholarship. So any college credits that you've taken as a high school student are eligible for the North Dakota scholarship, and you can get up to half of what you paid for your dual credit classes back in a scholarship after you've completed a semester in college. And there's an application form for that. And you want to make sure you pay attention to that, because then that can give you back up to $750 that you've paid toward college, which is another nice chunk off your total bill. The tab that we're going to look at today on the dual credit page is the Getting Started tab. And there's just a ton of really good information. If you haven't already worked through this, you'll want to make sure you do. So you can come out here and you can see that we have just kind of compiled everything in one place for you. So it's really easy to find and you don't have to go searching on the NDSU webpage. So you can see that it says Getting Started with dual credit. We have a checklist for you to look at that you can print off if you'd like to, or save a copy and kind of work through it on your own. We have the orientation here, so you can have a chance to ask questions. But the first thing you're going to want to do, because classes get started tomorrow, if you haven't already done this, you're going to want to work through setting up your services. And so Connie's created a really nice set of short little videos that just walk you through step by step to get your student ID. And this will be the same student ID. So if you've taken dual credit classes somewhere else, it'll be the same ID number. It's the same for the entire system, no matter what institution you go to, if it's a public institution in North Dakota. And so you'll claim your student ID. And then as part of that, you're going to go out to Campus Connection. And in Campus Connection, there are a couple important things that you need to do. First of all, you want to make sure that you're registered for the class that you thought you were registered for. And if you're not, email me right away and we'll get that fixed. That's an easy fix and we can do that for you. The other thing that you'll want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you complete your financial obligation application, and that should be in your to-do list in Campus Connect. So you should see a little to-do list or task list for yourself on your login page. You want to complete that financial obligation form, and then you'll also want to take a look at the FERPA form. And so after you've claimed your account and you've gotten everything set up, let me see here. I'm going to go find I'm going to go, sorry, I don't mean to give you vertigo, but the FERPA release, because that's going to be in Campus Connect, and that's where it'll be saved for you. I would recommend talking to your parents or guardians about this. Likely your parents would like to be able to see your bill. Maybe you want to be able to see other things or ask questions if you'd like them to, but you're considered a college student. Even though you're still a high school student, when you're enrolled in one of the colleges in North Dakota, you're considered a college student. And so in order for your parents to have access to your records, you have to actually sign off and fill out this FERPA release form. As part of that, you're going to choose a PIN number, and then you'll want to give that PIN number to whoever you want to have access to your records. So give it to your parents, or other guardian, if there's someone that you want to have access to that. And so you'll want to make sure you fill that out in Campus Connect. Without that, NDSU won't share records or information with anybody but you. That's your privacy rights. And so you want to make sure that you do that. And then the financial obligation form. You signed kind of a smaller version of this when you did your registration form, but we would like you to also complete the financial obligation form that's in Campus Connect. It just says you know that you've got a bill and that you'll take care of it and pay it. Because you're dual credit students and it's your first time working with NDSU, we will send you a paper copy of the bill, and we will also have a copy in Campus Connect, and you can pay it either way. So if you're more comfortable just sending like a check through the mail, that's fine. Or if your parents or you want to go in and pay it online, you can also just pay the bill online as well. But make sure you read through it, because depending on the form of payment you use, there might be a fee attached to it. And so you want to just make sure you know as you look through that what you want to do. Any questions about that? Kind of giving you a lot. I'm throwing a lot at you here. I'm going to come back up here. Again, I'm sorry that I'm kind of scrolling through over here. So once you've claimed your NDSU account, that will give you access to your email. It'll give you access to Blackboard, and it'll give you access to Campus Connect. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the difference in those Campus Connect and Blackboard. So Blackboard is our learning management system. That's where your classes are set up. And so you go in there to complete your coursework for your class. And so when you log into Blackboard, you'll be able to see when you log in, if you click on your courses, the class that you're registered in should be listed in your course list. And again, if you don't see it there, email me and we'll make sure that you get access to that right away. Those should all be showing up now in your Blackboard. And if they don't, again, email me, we'll figure it out. The other thing, Campus Connect, is it's more of the overall system for the university and for the university system. This is where, for example, you'll find your transcript. You can see all the classes you've taken. You see your schedule for the upcoming semester. It's kind of like Power School is for you all in high school. In fact, Power School is, Campus Connect and Power School are all in the same system. Power School is just the high school version, and Campus Connect is the college version. And so that's where you see kind of your ongoing records. This is where your FERPA, your financial obligation form, you can see once you're a full-time student, you'll be able to see your advisor, what kind of plan you're on, things like that. And so you won't see as much in there now as you'll see eventually once you're a full-time college student. But that's kind of the official record system for the university versus Blackboard, which is just where you find your courses and complete your courses. Logging into NDSU email, again, you're going to want to make sure that you're checking your NDSU email, and so either have it forwarded or make sure that you set up a reminder and you check it maybe even daily, because again, that's where your instructors will send emails to. They'll use your NDSU email address. That's where they'll, through Blackboard, often send you messages, and or may just email you independently, but they will use your NDSU email to do that. And we've got a little video here. If you do decide you want to set up to forward your email, there's some instructions here if you don't already know how to do that. All right. Some of you, I reached out earlier and talked a little bit about textbooks, and some of you have inclusive access, which means there'll be a link in Blackboard that'll give you access to the class textbook. If you're in the cereal sciences class, the Introduction to Food Science, I believe is what it's called, there is no textbook. The instructor will provide all the resources needed. If you're in, trying to remember the other class, the International 110, Introduction to International Studies, there is what's called an inclusive access textbook, and that'll be linked in your Blackboard. So when you log into Blackboard, you should see a tab for your textbook, and you should see it in there. If you, that will be automatically billed. And I went out and looked, I think it's $37, and don't quote me on that. It's either 37 or 43. I was looking at a couple different classes. It'll automatically bill to your student account. If you have access to that resource in another way and you don't want the inclusive access, you can go in and you can opt out of that inclusive access. And if you have any questions about that, make sure you ask your instructor. You have to do it within the first week of classes, or it'll automatically be billed to your account. You can't return it after that point. So you want to make sure that within the first week you would opt out if you don't want that inclusive access.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm in the international studies class, where, and I have my Blackboard screen up, where would I see that textbook?
I think there should be a link on the side, over on the left side in the tabs there. I think there should be one that says textbooks.
I don't see one right now.
I went out and I looked a little bit, and it says it's supposed to pop in the first day of classes, and
Okay.
tomorrow is the official first day of classes. And so I wonder if it doesn't pop in tomorrow, I would shoot the instructor an email. And if you don't get an answer from Dr. Hegeman, shoot me an email and I will dig into it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Because I have inclusive access from my class too. It's the first time I've used it. And so I was out looking too to see if it showed up, and mine wasn't in there yet either. So I wonder if they'll dump in tomorrow, or, the links might go hot tomorrow. And so
Sounds good.
yeah, if you don't see it by tomorrow, just ask, and don't be afraid to ask, because other students probably are asking the same question. All right, we already talked about Campus Connect. As far as bookstore, I just talked about that. I also want to talk about the NDSU Library. We have a link to it here on this page, or you can link to it off the main NDSU webpage. But when you get to it here, I think I can show you. You'll get, hopefully you see the NDSU Library page. This white box right here, you can search in anything that you need to find information. Like if you're asked to write a paper or to research a topic, you can type in whatever it is you're looking for and try different ways of looking. And then you can do a resource search, and I'm just going to put in, food science. I'll just put in as a topic, and I'm going to get a ton of returns on that. But this will tell you all different kinds. Oh, it's not coming up here. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see here. You can type it in, and you'll get a list of resources, and then you'll be asked to log in if there's something that you want to open and download. And then you just log in using your regular NDSU credentials, and it'll take you in and give you access to it. And so we do have those resources for you through the library. You can also, if you're in town and you want to just come to the NDSU library, you can come and use the NDSU library on campus as well. And then I want to talk through some of the campus resources. So we have links here to those different resources on our dual credit page. So ACE tutoring, and again, there are times that you can sign up for online tutoring. You don't have to come to campus for it. You just go in, you log in for a time, you tell them what you're hoping for help with. But if it's with writing, I would recommend the Center for Writers. But if it's something more that you want help with, math or whatever it is that you're studying, you would let them know what you need help with. That way they get the right person to help with your tutoring session. Again, Center for Writers, you can click in here and you can sign up for a consulting time, and you can do those through Zoom. I want to talk a little bit about disability services. If you are served by an individual education plan, an IEP, or a 504 plan at your high school right now, you would be eligible for services through disability services, just like you are through your high school. And you would just need to get signed up with them or get registered with them. And then they will reach out to the instructor on your behalf and let the instructor know what services you receive. For example, if you need your test read out loud to you, or you need additional time if the instructor uses timed exams, or if you need the notes provided, things like that, whatever your IEP would call for, you can get those same services here at NDSU. But you do need to have the official designation through disability services. While you should be a self-advocate and talk to your instructor if there's something you need, if you're asking for actual accommodations, such as additional time or notes or things like that, it does have to be officially through disability services with that diagnosis. If you run into any trouble with Blackboard, using email or any of the technology or services like Blackboard, email, Campus Connect, IT, we have a help desk, and you can either call or you can do an email for support, but you do have access to that as well. And do it sooner rather than later. Like if there's a known downtime, that sometimes Blackboard will do updates and they'll say, oh, it's going to be down for the day or down for a few hours. that's one thing. But if for some reason you're not able to get in, you're locked out, reach out right away. I haven't had to wait for more than a few minutes. It's a really good wait, really low wait time, and they're really good about getting back to you and helping. All right, I already talked about the library. We do follow the rights and responsibilities of a community, the student conduct here at NDSU. And if you have any questions about that, I'll let you go in and look at that on your own. And then finally, drops and withdrawals. If you do find that you get into the class and it wasn't what you expected, you just don't have the time like you thought you would, or what, for whatever reason you want to drop the class, just shoot me an email and we will go in and we'll get you dropped from the class. If that takes you to 0 credits, I'm going to ask you to fill out a withdrawal form as well, which is a pretty simple process. I'll send you the link for that if you need it. We do have deadlines, and I want to encourage you to follow the deadlines. And I'm going to stop sharing for a second, go back to PowerPoint. So scoot ahead here. There is an academic calendar, and I just wanted to draw your attention to August 31st is the last day to drop with a full refund. So after that, there are dates on the dates and deadlines page. It'll show you at what percentage we're at. Like the next one is a 75% refund, things, it goes all the way through. But the other thing I want to tell you is that it's not just about the refund, but August 31st is also the last day to drop where there isn't a record that you were enrolled in the class. And what that means is if you drop after August 31st on your transcript, it will just say W, that you withdrew. And that doesn't hurt your GPA or anything. And it generally doesn't mean a whole lot, but it will still be on your record that you had an attempt at that class. And there are some classes where, and then sometimes some institutions have policies around the number of times you can attempt something, and it will be counted as an attempt if you have a W on your transcript. And so just really aware of, what it means to drop. But again, if there are also just implications around, if you feel like it's not going to go well, remember that this is a college class and that transcript sticks with you. So my oldest son took a dual credit class, was pretty happy getting the grade that he got in high school. It wasn't an A, but later he was like, darn it, because that's impacting my GPA now. And he was really hoping for that, 4.0, and he still did well and he still got on the dean's list, but he was disappointed that he didn't take the class more seriously and get the A that he wanted so that he'd have that 4.0 going into college as a full-time student. And so I would recommend that if it's looking like things aren't going well, that you talk to your parents or guardians, maybe talk to your counselor, or if you want to visit with me, you can share bounce ideas. I used to be a high school teacher. I'm in the Office of Teaching and Learning now, and there would be no negative implications for you talking to me. And I also have 3 kids that just all my youngest is still in college, but just either went to college or wrapped up, and I can offer you some thoughts if you need someone just to bounce ideas off of. As far as if you get in a position where you think you're a little bit nervous about continuing with the class. All right, I talked through this. And I think, let me just go back to the page here and just see if there was anything else that I wanted to go through. Oh, and then we just have information at the bottom. This isn't for right now, but we do have information linked on that page as well for ordering your transcript. You can always see your unofficial transcript in Campus Connect as well, which you'll be able to log into even after the class. And we do have instructions on how to access both your official and your unofficial transcript if you need to send your transcript anywhere. Like if you don't end up going to NDSU, if you go within the system though, you should know that any of the system schools can just pull the transcripts from other schools in the system, that you don't need to actually send transcripts. Typically, we can go in and get transcripts from NDSCS or BSC, UND, and NDSU, of course. But you'll want to just check with your individual once you get there and you apply for your full-time position, you can ask about that. And I'll just stop there. We have all those little videos, and Connie just did such a nice job of just going step by step, talking you plus the screenshots, and then chunking them into just one task at a time, so that it's just, you can just go in and do one video at a time. And I think they're all between 2 and 3 minutes. So they're not very long at all, and you can work your way through getting your ID set up, getting into Blackboard. And classes officially start tomorrow, so you'll want to go in and take a look and make sure that you are all ready to go for your class, and you know your deadlines and what needs to be submitted and how to do that. And I'll just stop and ask if you have any questions at all.
I have a couple quick ones.
Sure.
First, I went on Campus Connection and I tried to find the FERPA release, but I didn't see it. Do you
Okay.
have any tips for that? I
Uh,
went to the e-forms and it just didn't come up with any e-forms.
oh. Sometimes there's like little glitches where something won't work for just a minute or two. Did you try logging out and logging back in and trying it again?
No, I could try that later though.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes, and especially when things are really busy, like there probably are right now, like today and tomorrow, Blackboard and Campus Connect are going to be just overloaded with users. And so sometimes if you just try again a little bit later, that works sometimes. The other one is some browsers work better than others. And I think Google Chrome tends to work the best with Campus Connect. If you were using a different one, maybe try switching browsers sometimes.
Okay. And then this might be too personal, but when I logged into my email account just today, there was a previous email about a balance, but the balance is different than the one that showed up on Campus.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. We'll find out about this too. And I'm so glad you reached out. There was a glitch in the system that was miscalculating. And so we got on that right away, got them all fixed. And your balance that you see right now should be right. And it should be the 153.25 per credit. So it'd be about $460 for a 3-credit class. So it should be correct now.
So I can just disregard that email?
Yes. And I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize emails had gone out on it.
Okay. And then one last thing. Honestly, like I didn't really know class started tomorrow. And I was just wondering, like, what does it look like to start this class? Do we just look in Blackboard at what the professor has sent us? And since it is asynchronous, like, are there hard deadlines, or just a little more information on like what it looks like to take a class like this?
Yeah, so, you know, it will vary by instructor. Some of the instructors do where it's kind of up to the student. Most of them though will have deadlines built into the modules. And so have you gone in just to look all around in Blackboard at the class?
I only logged in like 10 minutes ago, honestly.
Okay.
So I saw that she had sent something out about reading.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's with those textbooks that you said would show up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not so sure.
So you'll want to poke around a little bit just to see how your instructor is going to set up Blackboard. A lot of times there's a tab called course content on the side there on the left side.
Just courses?
It should say course, like if you go into the course and you click into your social science course. Okay. And then on the left side, it says course content should be one of the options for the top left.
Uh-huh.
And then a lot of times that's where the instructors will put their modules or units. Do you see any modules in there?
I see things called case studies, articles, and some other things.
Okay. So do you see a syllabus in there? Or do you see under the tab that says syllabus? There should be a left hand.
Syllabus.
Okay, the syllabus is kind of everything in college. And so I would open up the syllabus and there should be a schedule in the syllabus. And if there's not, it might be under a separate tab on the left that says schedule. And that should tell you where everything's at, like all the due dates and what's the assignments are.
Okay. Okay, under schedule, I found a week 1 section, so
Okay,
I could look at that later. That would be good.
yes. Yeah, and so I'm guessing, and you said you have the International 110?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and Dr. Hageman is just wonderful. And so if you have any questions at all, you can absolutely email her and she's gonna be great. But what I'm guessing is she probably has things due weekly or things that you're supposed to do weekly, even if there isn't an assessment, because that's kind of another thing about college, and it makes it that's why some freshmen really struggle is there are things that sometimes you have to do, but nobody checks to see that you did them. And so, like if there's readings and things, I just recommend just doing them and keeping up on them so that when it comes time for some assignment where you had to have done all that reading, that you're not like, oh, darn it, now I've got to read,
Yeah.
hours worth of stuff. And so, but I'm guessing she probably has little things that you're supposed to do, like, and this is just an example, but maybe like post to a discussion board or turn in like an article summary or something like that. I'm guessing there's little assignments that she probably has you do weekly.
Yeah, what I'm seeing right now is read and then think about some questions, and it says we'll have a quiz on August the 30th, but I'm
Okay.
guessing she would send that quiz out via email or Blackboard. Is that
Yeah,
what you?
and so she'll probably whenever she's going to make that quiz due or available to you, there is actually like a feature in Blackboard for quizzes. And so I'm guessing that you'll click in and take it right on Blackboard.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, if you have questions, Jeannie's just amazing and she will answer your questions. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
If I have any problems with the FERPA or the financial side of it, like finding those things, who would I reach out to for that?
You can sure ask me and I can dig into it, that we don't have to try to, sending emails all over campus or anything. We'll figure it out
Okay.
and I'll tell you exactly how to find them. I'll send you some screenshots and things.
Okay. That's all for now. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. If you think of something later, do you say your name is Anna?
Yeah.
Okay, if you think of something later, don't be afraid to send an email. Like I said, I don't mind answering. And I have 3 kids that went through college and did a lot of helping that way. And I used to be a high school teacher, so it really isn't a problem at all.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for attending.